Welcome to the Modern Assyrian on AGN. My name is Carmen Morad. We are on location in the city of Modesto, the seat of Stanislaus County, and we are privileged to be at the elections office in Stanislaus County. I would like to thank Stanislaus County Voter Registrar Donna Linder for having us here today. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to our office to see how we protect the vote.
Well, Donna, through the years, you have been so open with the community about how this process works, about giving us the opportunity, not only for the Assyrian community, but the community at large, to inform and educate on how the process works and how our ballots are processed and protected. So I would like to begin by thanking you for that. We are here on a Saturday, and of course during election season you don't have any off days. So
No.
We appreciate the due diligence. Please share with our viewers what they have to look forward to. And I do believe the ballots have already been mailed out. Tell us what we have to look forward to and how every voter's vote is protected and processed and counted.
So ballots were mailed on February 5th. Ballots come in English or Spanish, but we do have facsimile ballots in our minor languages, Khmer, Punjabi, and Syriac. And those ballots can be requested. If you haven't already done so, you can call the office, request one, and we will send you that. So those have gone out. Voters have the option of voting that ballot and either putting it in the mailbox, which no postage is necessary, taking it to one of our drop boxes. They can find those on a card that was sent with them, in their voter information guide, or on our website at stanvote.com. Or they can go to a vote center when those open. On February 24th, we'll start opening those. And then again on March 5th, March 2nd, more will open. And so they have the option to go there. They can turn that ballot in, get a new one, vote in person, just drop that one off, replace it, whatever they need to do. They can also, if they miss the registration deadline of February 20th to receive information in the mail, they can go and register at any location. Once your ballot is received by us, your signature will be compared to the one that we have on registration. Then they are separated into precincts so that the same type of races are together, so that if we have someone who wants a recount, we can find those ballots for them. And then they are opened and flattened and ran through our count room, which is all secured, but has glass and dual monitors so that the public can see the vote count.
So what's really unique about the vote centers, which has been really through the last few years, is that you can go to any vote center. Let's say you live in Turlock, but you live in Oakdale. Mm-hmm. And you can go to the one in Oakdale and to really make the changes that you talked about, re-register, change your affiliation, for example, mm-hmm. or make any changes that you have, or ask for help. Mm-hmm. But if you ask for help in those languages, it would need to be where certain vote centers are assigned for that. For example, for the Assyrian community, it would be in Turlock, correct?
We try to put languages at all of our vote centers. That requires quite a few volunteers, and sometimes we do not have enough to go to all of them, but the ones in the areas that have the majority of the population of that language, we do try to ensure that they have a speaker in our languages. At the vote centers also, if you have any type of hearing impairment or vision or anything like that, you can use a touch writer that will make your ballot larger for you, change the contrast, or you can listen to it talk to you. So there's a lot of services they can receive at a vote center.
I was recently at a training as a volunteer, and there are a lot of services that your average person is not aware of. So we do encourage that you ask if you have that need, whether you're impaired, vision impaired, visual impaired, or if you have trouble hearing. All of those resources are available, and someone to help you as well.
Correct.
So that is really interesting. We really want people to know, or if they can bring someone with them. You know, one of the questions that we were asked, Donna, about when others can bring in ballots and drop them off, and if they're not signed, what happens? You know, a lot of people wait till on election day to either drop off their ballots, or if the signature is wrong, if they lost their envelopes. These are the most common questions that are asked. Can you give our viewers a little bit more of a guidance and direction on what happens, for example, if you lose your ballot, that you return it in?
So if you cannot find the ballot that was mailed to you, you can go to any vote center. You can come here to our office and get a replacement for that ballot, or vote in person if you'd like at a vote center. You can also call the office if it's far enough in advance. The last day to mail is the 27th of February because we want to make sure, be ensured that it'll get to you. So, but you can call in. We'll send you a replacement ballot. We ask you a series of questions so we ensure it's you, and then you can get that replacement ballot. You can also mark, there's a little box on your envelope that says you need a replacement ballot if you've ripped it or anything, you know, done something to it that you want to replace it, and we'll catch that mark and send you a new ballot. If it is not signed, or say, and I like to tell this story, I voted on the couch and I didn't want to get up and sign my ballot, so I signed on my knee. Well, my staff, they challenged that signature because it didn't look enough like my normal signature. So we'll send something to you saying your signature didn't look right. Here's this, you know, form that you can fill out, and then we'll see if that signature matches. And it could be, you know, you signed on your knee, or you know, something. But if it doesn't have a signature, we also send a form saying you forgot to sign your envelope. Please send us this back. We have to have that signature. That's our safeguard, to make sure that it's you and that your ballot was voted by you.
Donna, thank you for clarifying that, because there's so many questions out about how you check for the eligibility of voters. You know, are they citizens of this country? Are they voting twice, you know, this county or another county? These questions often come up, and it's so important for individuals to have these responses by you or someone in your office. How can someone contact you if they have these questions that are so detailed that they are able to get the appropriate response and reply?
So they can email our office, stanvote@stancounty.com, or they can call 209-525-5201, or they can just come to the office. We're happy to answer any questions they have, give them the information that they need to vote, so they can come and do any of those things. You also mentioned people registering to vote and the safeguards for that. When you register to vote, we ask you for the last four of your Social Security number or your driver's license number, and that's because we're checking those databases. The check against voting twice. Once your ballot's received, it's scanned to the voter registration system for us to match your signature, but it also tells it that we have a ballot for you. So if we receive a second one in some way, we know you already voted, so that ballot can't be counted. Or if you're at a vote center, they also know if we've received your ballot because they can see that it says ballot received. So those checks and balances are there also. California has a statewide database, so if you voted in a different county, that will pop up too. So there's that safeguard against people voting twice or going to another county and voting there too.
And if someone decides that they decided to vote or register to vote on election day, they can still come in. No one is disenfranchised. They can come in to a vote center and say, you know, I just moved here, and they can approve their residency and then register and do a provisional ballot, and still, but the difference is their vote, their ballot will be counted last.
Correct. So once we are done with all the vote by mail, We go through and we take either provisional or conditional voter registrations, and we process those, but we search and check and make sure. So if you moved to Stanislaus County late in the election, but you came from San Joaquin, we're going to double check that you didn't vote in the other county. So that all that research is done before we count that ballot. But if you're here and you're registering for the first time, then yes, your ballot will be counted as long as you haven't voted someplace else.
It's so nice to understand these safeguards because it's complicated for someone who's not familiar with the process or doesn't have the training, but they do have the ability to ask and make sure that they know why certain things are done. And of course, it's by code, as you often tell us. Code requires what is done. And then also there is assembly bills, there's Senate bills that actually require for certain things to be done and not done. So anyone that has those questions, they can have those answers at the vote centers or by calling your office.
Correct. Calling our office, we know there's a lot of standard questions during an election, so we're happy to answer those. We are here to help our voters. That's our job, and so we want them to call us and ask us questions. One thing that I did want to mention, and this goes back to vote by mail, but people can send in their vote by mail, and we accept mail 7 days after the election. But that means your ballot has to be postmarked on election day. And to ensure that, when you put it in the box, double check the pickup time, because we do get several ballots, and by that I mean a lot, the next day that are postmarked the day after. And it's, to us, it's so sad because we want to count everyone's vote, but according to code, if it's not postmarked on election day, we cannot accept it. And so just check that pickup time.
Perfect. Donna, thank you so much for your time and the privilege of your time and all the information that you offer. We at the Assyrian Global Network, we're so proud to partner with your office to make sure that we inform and educate with everything through outreach material, through the fact that a lot of these documents and forms, especially with the sample ballots that go to people's homes, the different languages that are assigned and how the facsimile ballots really provide a motivation, I want to say. Civic engagement is so important to everyone, especially to our community. And this is one way, I think, I always encourage members of the Assyrian community to volunteer, to play a role in this whole civic engagement and elections. And by doing that, you're informed. You are able to explain by your training how things are done and really play a role in all of this. So I really appreciate all the efforts that you provide.
Thank you. You know, I like to encourage voters to vote. And I usually explain to them that your Congress, your Assembly, your City Council, your school boards, they affect your life directly in your area. If a election is a tie, to break that tie, they can flip a coin, which is brought by a neutral party and then inspected, by a representative of the candidates, and then they literally pick heads or tails and flip a coin. They can draw cards, and whoever has the highest card would take the seat, or the highest suit if they draw the same card. I, for one, would rather have the people's voice heard. So vote and make your voice heard of what you want to see in your community. Don't let it be decided by a flip of a coin or a drawing of a card, because we have had that happen on a lot of our district boards in Stanislaus County. And so I encourage everyone to vote and make your voice heard in this county instead of relying on a coin flip or a card draw.
Oh my goodness, that sounds really interesting. Thank you again for providing all that information. You have offered us a tour of your office today. We are privileged to be here. And once we have concluded our interview and our conversation, thank you again for showing us step by step of how the ballots are processed and how after 8 o'clock on election night, we can start to expect the results because your staff is diligently working on releasing, as ballots come in for that evening.
Correct. On election night at 8 o'clock, we start to post. It'll be shortly after. And those are the vote by mails that we've received prior to Election Day. We count through Monday. Tuesday is dedicated just to voters. Election Day, Tuesday. And then the results that you see after that are the vote centers bringing in their votes. And then once we start canvass, you can check our website every Tuesday and Thursday, and we post results on those days also. So you can see the progress as it goes.
Absolutely. So now the primary presidential election is coming up, and then of course in November, and I have a feeling we'll be talking about this a lot more to make sure that all of our viewers who are eligible to vote, if they have not registered to vote, they do so, and they find their eligibility in their residency to see after redistricting some changes have happened.
Oh, correct.
So our representation has switched as well.
Yes.
So we encourage that competency in our representation and how our voice makes a difference.
I really encourage people to do that check because Stanislaus County used to have just one congressman. Now we have 3 areas, and so 3 different Congress areas to vote for. So people maybe, if they haven't voted in a while, maybe shocked to see that, oh, these aren't the people I thought would be on my ballot. So there is a lot of research that people can do. You've gotten a guide from the state, which will have your state candidates, your Congress and Senate in it. And then you have our guide too that has all your local things. So places to look and receive that information.
Absolutely. This concludes my conversation with Stanislaus County Voter Registrar Donna Linder. We will see you on the upcoming programs.
Welcome to the Registrar of Voters office. First line of defense, we have this new door that is bullet resistant, and only a few people actually have a key to the door to get into the office to allow us to work on ballots. So. Once ballots are received in Stanislaus County, they come back here to our table and are sorted just to make sure that there's not other mail in them, that we have them all in the same direction, things like that. So they're sorted here and they're weighed over here to tell us how many ballots came from each drop box or how many came in the mail. So all of that is done right here in this area, and it's supervised by one of our supervisors in the office. In Stanislaus County, we have an old bank building, so we have a bank vault. So if the ballots are not being worked on, they are kept in the vault so that they cannot be tampered with in any way. Unvoted ballots are also kept in the vault. There are cameras that face this vault, and 2 people must always enter it if we are going into the vault. Okay, so once ballots have been sorted and put in their trays, they're brought to the 3rd floor where they are ran through a sort machine. This sort machine does a couple of things. It will put them through and take their signatures so that it can be compared against their registration. So it captures that. It looks for the little square on your ballot envelope that says, I need a new ballot. So it will pull those out so we can send them new ballots. And if you forgot to sign your envelope, it also captures those and puts them in another tray so that we can go through and get you paper to sign your envelope. So once they're done here, signatures have been verified, they come back up and they're sorted by their ballot type so that we can open them in the same areas that they should be done. So once we've sorted the ballots, then they come to be opened, and they are opened They're opened by these two machines that have operators, and then there's people who are giving them ballots. So the ballots are put here, they drop down, and they are sliced open at the top and the sides. Once they're opened, they come to here, and these little suction cups open up the envelope. It also covers your name. Voting is private, and so we don't want to see your name once we're pulling the ballot out. So we pull the ballot out, put them in trays, and the envelope goes away so that your name is not with your ballot at all. Once those ballots are out of their envelopes, they're flattened, and then they go into the counter to be counted. When ballots are ready to count, they are counted in this room, which is locked and is only entered by a card key that only 4 people have the card key access. Once they are in there, they are counted, and these monitors will show you exactly what's happening in the room and what the person sees on the other side as they're scanning the ballots or adjudicating them. Adjudication would be if you had your ballot and you marked yes for a proposition, and then you decided it should be no, and you crossed out your yes and you marked no, the system says, oh, they voted twice on something that should be voted on once. We'll go through and look at that and say the voter wanted no. But that's always also done with 2 people. They're watching each other to make sure that they're picking what the voter wanted. And you can watch this out here, and it can also be seen from the lobby, because all of these over here are all the same thing. They're all of these monitors. So wherever anyone is working, you can see the monitor, what they're doing. So another check and balance.
Thank you, Donna, for the tour that you gave us. I do believe there's a lot of answers, that people had questions, that you provided us with the process and how it works. In closing, is there anything you want to add to the tour?
So I've showed you around the office. It's harder to see without ballots, but when ballots are being worked on, they're out in the open, and there's always people with them so that there can be no tampering. And then once they're not being worked on, they are back in that vault. So if you come in and you see people sitting on computers out in the open, they're checking signatures. No ballots are ever taken into a cubicle or an office for the integrity of the election.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We will see you on Election Day, and thank you for participating in the election this year in 2024.